the same stuff that they sell them. So,
yeah, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power.
Shine, flies, no time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, 'cause good things happen in time. We gon' get it right, we gon' get it right, we gon' get it right. We gon' get it right.
Protests and anthems, yes, we chanting a movement of people. It's like we dancing to the ministry of. It's the energy of, in memory of them that we love. The trinity of the people, the peace, the power, the truth. We speak the powers even louder. We can say it blacker, we can say it prouder. A woman vice president that went to Howard. Now we talk helping black businesses, and our differences is magnificent. Bringing light to the point where the business is. I was told good life is where forgiveness lives. The ascension is to leave what's left behind and feed the seeds with deeds that bless the mind, caress the mind, and question justify. With you and God in time, my best align.
Shine, flies, no time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, 'cause good things happen in time. We gon' get it right, we gon' get it right. We gon' get it right. We gon' get it right.
How can I be a better father, son, a better grandson, honoring Fannie Lou's and the Fred Hamptons, the Harriets, the chariots that carry us to various areas that marry us to progress. Yeah, we the harvest, the lovely days and midnight marauders. Even through charges and days of darkness, no, we in the hands of the greatest artists. I see it in the waters, I see it in our daughters. They could be bridges that know no borders. For so long, them folks try to ignore us. When we at the ballot boxes to vote for us. Peace to Stacey and the people of Georgia, who galvanized so that we can move forward. Steps are ordered with the presence of mind. Everything's more beautiful in time.
Shine, flies, no time to waste.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, your host and White House correspondent. I'm in touch until you be in touch. Be sure to follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q, DRNIIQ. And there I am, fresh for you to follow. Also, be sure to download the KBLA app to listen to us live or on demand, or simply tell Alexa to play KBLA Talk 1580. And there we are for your listening pleasure. Last but not least, be sure to subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast. That way, you'll never miss an episode. And when I say A More Perfect Union podcast, I mean the one that's powered by KBLA. Yeah, that one. Subscribe to that one, and we will always stay in touch. Now, I'm going to brag just for a minute. I'm super excited about my high school best friend, Jazz Summers. He's no stranger to folks on this show. He's popped up from time to time, but I'm really excited that he's going to be debuting his directorial skills, coming to a screen near you. I'm talking about his directorial debut with Hulu. You can find his movie Stay on Hulu starting October 8th. We're going to have him on in short order to talk about his debut film, a project that he also wrote. And so, you know, I'm excited. And I have a feeling that y'all are going to be super excited as well. All right. Now it's time for your national news roundup. It's time for you to decide the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. And kicking us off, just before we went on air, there was some breaking news related to Jimmy Kimmel. I should say some breaking and very concerning news related to late night talk show host Jimmy Kimmel. NBC News, the Associated Press, a number of sources are reporting that Disney is pulling Jimmy Kimmel Live after FCC chair criticized the host Charlie Kirk comments. Disney's ABC said that Jimmy Kimmel Live will be preempted indefinitely. A spokesperson confirmed that to NBC News today following the late night host comments Monday about the late conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Kirk, as many of you know, was co-founder of Turning Points USA, was giving a presentation at Utah Valley University when he was fatally shot last week. During his monologue on Monday night, Kimmel raised the possibility that the alleged assassin, Tyler Robinson, might have been a pro-Trump Republican, saying, quotes, "The MAGA gang is desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it." That's what Jimmy Kimmel said. Well, on Wednesday, just today, Federal Communications Commission Chair Brendan Carr threatened to take action against Disney and ABC over the comments. Nexstar Media Group announced that the company's ABC affiliates will preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live for the foreseeable future, beginning with Wednesday night's show. I don't need to tell you all how outrageous this is. I think that's the word to describe it. This is outrageous, especially given reports of what Tyler Robinson has told authorities thus far. Tyler Robinson, the shooter himself, referenced his father being a pro-Trump Republican. That's what the shooter said. And so Jimmy Kimmel ain't saying anything where there isn't any evidence to suggest as much. This is outrageous. And if it can happen with Jimmy Kimmel, if ABC News can be forced or believe that they're being forced to do this in order to protect their FCC license, then no media outlet is safe. Not one. In other news, the Federal Reserve has cut interest rates for the first time this year. You know what that means? It means that it may be a little bit cheaper for us to borrow money from the banks moving forward. The Federal Reserve announced a highly anticipated interest rate cut today, a move indicating that concerns about a slowing labor market now outweigh ongoing worries about inflation. It's the Fed rate cut this year, and it's the first one, I should say, and policymakers opted for a quarter-point cut to the central bank's benchmark rate in line with expectations. It's now set at 4% to 4.25%. The Trump administration has mounted an unprecedented pressure campaign that's included attacks on Jerome Powell, the chair of the Federal Reserve, for not lowering rates sooner, as well as an effort to unseat a Biden-era Fed appointee over accusations of mortgage fraud. But Powell and the Fed, they resisted Trump's pressure, saying its dual mandate of keeping both unemployment and inflation low meant that it needed to be careful not to overheat the economy and risk a return to rapidly rising prices. And President Obama today condemned the Charlie Kirk killing, calling political violence a threat to all of us. NBC reporting that former President Obama condemned the assassination of Charlie Kirk and the spate of political violence that has gripped the country, while rebuking President Trump and his allies for politicizing the shooting and not doing more to unite the country. Speaking in Erie, Pennsylvania at the Jefferson Educational Society, the president was a part of a conversation moderated by Steve Scully. And he said that Kirk's murder was horrific and a tragedy, adding that the nation's democratic system is grounded in the principle that people can disagree without resorting to violence. He went on to say, and when it happens to some, but even if you think they're quote unquote on the other side of the argument, that's a threat to all of us. And we have to be clear and forthright in condemning them. And so that's what the president said today. He also spoke about how, as president, he tried to focus on ties that bind us together. Following the 2015 Charleston church shooting, for example, he steered clear of discussing the racist motives or using the murders to attack his political opponents. Obama also praised Utah Governor Spencer Cox, a Republican, for his efforts to bring the country together after Kirk's killing. Now, you know, I think a lot of us appreciate the president's perspective and would agree with the president in many ways. And I think some folks may take issue with that praise for the Utah governor, given some of the things that he's been quoted saying in the press following that shooting, and what felt like a rush to blame folks on the left. And so the fallout from the Charlie Kirk shooting continues, and we'll continue to keep our eye on it. All right, moving along, the Justice Department sues Maine and Oregon, ratcheting up demands for voter data. NPR is reporting that the Department of Justice is escalating its demands for sensitive election data from voting officials, announcing a lawsuit against 2 Democratic-controlled states who have thus far rebuffed the department's request. The DOJ is suing Oregon and Maine. Let me just point out, both with Democratic governors, I think. And those states, secretaries of states, in an effort to gain access to each state's voter registration list, including personal information such as social security numbers. The department has asked for sensitive voting data from numerous states. Oregon and Maine are the first to be sued. That's your data. That's my data. And data in the wrong hands can be a scary thing. When we come forward, we're switching gears. I'm really excited to welcome Monique Kleska, an award-winning trailblazer in the area of human rights and advocacy for women and girls internationally. She's publishing her memoir entitled Silence and Resistance. It's a memoir of a girlhood in Haiti. It is a very moving memoir. Many say an untold story of Haiti's overlooked middle class through one woman's journey under a brutal dictatorship. And so we're going to talk to her about that and also get her reaction to some of the biggest headlines related to Haiti in the news. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey. Let's preserve Black land stories before they're lost forever. I want to personally invite you to be a part of something historic. As journalist in residence for the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project, I've joined forces with powerhouse attorney and social justice champion George Fothery, the man who helped make history by delivering justice to the Bruce family in Manhattan Beach, securing the first known return of land unjustly taken from Black owners by a local government. That victory was monumental, but it was just the beginning. For generations, Black families have acquired land through grit, faith, and determination, only to lose it through violence, legal loopholes, forced sales, and systematic racism. What's been taken goes far beyond dirt and deeds. It's the erasure of wealth, identity, and legacy. That's why we've launched the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project, a national effort to collect, protect, protect and preserve the stories of Black land lost before they're buried, forgotten, or erased altogether. Because there's power in telling Black stories, there is resistance in remembering, and there's justice in being seen and heard. This is where you come in. We're inviting you to be a part of this historic Black narrative archive. If you or someone you know has experienced land loss, displacement, or forced property sales, your story deserves to be heard and remembered. Your story belongs in this archive. Your truth matters not just to your family, but to our collective future. Visit blacklandloss.org today. Fill out our simple intake form and add your voice to the National Archive of Remembrance, Resilience, and Reckoning. Let's make these stories live on, not in whispers, but on the record. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
Hit me! National News The Consequence. Informed opinion. And analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and as an author, you know I love to talk to authors. I love to be a part of this secret society of storytellers. Well, secret but not so secret. I really want to welcome Monique Kleska. She's an award-winning trailblazer in the area of human rights and advocacy for women and girls internationally, and has a new book out. It's called Silence and Resistance. It's a memoir of a girlhood in Haiti. Welcome to the show, Monique.
Thank you very much. I love the title of the show.
Well, I love the title of your book. And before we dive into your book, you know, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to just, you know, some of the biggest headlines that are trending in the United States related to Haitians. We know that there are an estimated 500,000 Haitians that have temporary protective status here in the United States, and they have been under threat for some months for being mass deported back to Haiti. You know, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that that may very well exacerbate challenges on the ground in Haiti right now. I want to give you a chance to react to that.
Well, I think it's a complicated issue. First of all, there is the part that they are legally in the United States. So I think, you know, once you get a visa, it is up to the greeting country, the country that receives you, of course, can revoke the visa at any time. But this is, you are legal. So basically, it has to go, these people must be allowed to stay until their visa is over and be given possibility of renewal. That is, I think, the first issue. The second issue also is an issue I also deal with in my book, which is the issue of migration. Nobody leaves home because you want to leave home. You leave your home, you leave your country because you feel you have no choice. A lot of people have their lives in danger. They have lost their businesses. Some have been kidnapped, etc. So there, you know, there has to be a kind of a solidarity that has to be played there, particularly when statistics have shown that most Haitians who come to the United States, they want schooling, they become healthcare workers, they become restaurant workers, they become lawyers, they become judges. So it is not to commit bad things that they come. So that is the second issue. And the third issue is, of course, up to us Haitians. We have to work to make Haiti better for Haitians. And that is one of the reasons why I'm active also in the social justice struggle and in the feminist struggle and a pro-democracy struggle in Haiti. We must make sure that there is no corruption, no impunity, that there is health, there is education, social justice for people. And it is up to us to make sure that our citizens have a country that they are proud to stay in and that they can stay in. So that's why I say it really is a complicated issue that has various aspects to it. But we are hardworking citizens, and we have a history. We have a history that is a beacon to other Black folks throughout the world. So we may be going through rough time today, but we will get through this.
We will get through this, and we certainly will try to get through this. No doubt that what we're experiencing right now in the United States, what we're witnessing in so many other parts of the world, the rise of autocracy, to put it lightly. You've seen this movie before in your book.
Yes.
You really take us on, the journey of Haiti's overlooked middle class through the eyes of one woman under a brutal dictatorship. In what ways is this moment that we're living in reminiscent of the life through the eyes of that woman?
It is strikingly reminiscent, and it's even triggering. It is so similar because the aspect of silence, you feeling that, should I say things? Should I speak? What will happen if I speak? The aspect of fear, overall fear, a fear of being shot, fear of your family being shot, fear of being hung, for example. There is this thing about this young black man who is hung, and nobody knows what the story is about that, but whatever it is frightening. Fear of others telling you to be silent, and we hear a lot of that, people being threatened, being silent, and don't speak about this, or if you say this is not the proper thing that you should say. You should say this. And all of that, as you say, I've seen this movie before, and I lived this movie. My parents lived this movie. My mother had to leave Haiti because she was under threat. And this it kind of never leaves you. It stays with you. And I think the United States is going through a difficult period. People are going through difficulties right now about speaking, free speech, about even freedom of movement. The whole migration raids. Migration, as I say, people don't leave because you want to leave, but migration has other stories that are linked to it. Migration has survival. Migration has separation. Migration has loss. And migration also has resistance. When I see all the people who are protecting others who are being removed illegally from this country, I say these are acts of resistance. They may seem small, but they are extremely important, and they must continue. So each of us has a kind of higher duty to protect the other who is being threatened, the other who is feeling fear. And a lot of what I lived with when I was a little girl that I detailed in the book, a lot of it is because we really were not protected. We were silenced. And I often say that it was the art form of my family, silence, but it was also the art form of the government that I lived under. And I see that, and it is scary. It triggers the fear that I have had, that I've lived with throughout my life. But it is an important story to tell, and it is also important to show that others have gone through it, and you can come from it. You can survive, you can resist, and there is solidarity in numbers, and there is a community that can protect others. So I think it is both sides of it. It is, yes, we're suffering. Yes, we're being silenced. Yes, we are prevented from speaking. But yes, we can resist, and we are resisting. Whether it was then as a little girl, whether it was some of the people around me when I was growing up, and today also, there are so many people who are resisting.
Yeah, there's so many people out there resisting. And one of the things I really love about what you just said is that resistance, it may seem small, it may feel small, but collectively, if everyone is doing their part, and if folks are resisting in whatever way they can, we're not projecting onto folks, any singular way to resist, but instead encouraging people to do what they can. On this show, we say, do what you can from where you are with what you have, right?
Yes.
As long as we are encouraging folks to resist in that way, then over time, collectively, it can make a big difference. Monique, when we come forward, one of the things that you write about so beautifully in your book, Silence and Resistance, Memoir of a Girlhood in Haiti, you talk about the haunting absence of both your parents, particularly your mom, whose unexplained absence coupled with her emotional distance, it affected you. And right now, there are a number of people, young people across the United States and in so many parts of the world that are having to confront that trauma. They're having to manage that trauma. And so when we come forward, we want to hear about how you've attempted to do that. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More with Monique Kleska, the author of Silence and Resistance, Memoir of a Girlhood in Haiti.
The audience is listening. Thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker and Black Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson are blasting President Trump over his threat to send the National Guard to Chicago.
It has never come up. It never came up during the campaign. It's never come up in the first 2 years.
Johnson says no one asked for troops, while Pritzker accused Trump of, quote, losing it, end quote, and possibly suffering from dementia. Former President Barack Obama calls the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk a tragedy, saying political differences do not justify violence. Speaking in Pennsylvania, Obama said while he disagreed with Kirk's ideas, he was a young man with loved ones who are grieving and stressed democracy requires disagreement without violence. And rapper Cardi B revealed on CBS Mornings that she's expecting a baby with New England Patriots star Stephon Diggs. The news comes ahead of her new album, Am I the Drama, that releases Friday, and her Little Miss Drama tour in February. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Hawthorne crash on the 405 southbound just right around Rosecrans. It's blocking middle lanes. Big rig and a bus got into it. And we're seeing delays right now pushing back away from Century Boulevard out of Inglewood. Staying on that 405 southbound beyond the wreck, you still have some heavy traffic as you continue to Palo Verde in Long Beach. Let's look at the drive on the 5 in Irvine. Northbound slowing from the 133. In stretches all the way to Harbor in Anaheim.
This season, San Diego is playing at home, and you are on the roster. Don't miss the Padres, Wave FC, San Diego FC, and the Blue Angels at the Miramar Air Show. Plan your trip now at sandiego.org/awesome all year. Funded in part with City of San Diego Tourism Marketing District Assessment Fund.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Chargers got some good news Wednesday morning concerning All-Pro linebacker Khalil Mack. The 34-year-old Mack will not miss the rest of the season after suffering an elbow injury in the first quarter of Sunday night's win at Las Vegas. The Chargers have yet to say how long Mack will be sidelined. The Chargers play their home opener Sunday against Denver at SoFi. UCLA interim football coach Tim Skipper met with the media for the first time Wednesday morning. The 47-year-old African-American, a native of New Orleans, was promoted on Sunday to replace Deshaun Foster. An 0-3 start prompted UCLA officials to fire Foster on Sunday. Skipper was an assistant at Fresno State before joining Foster's staff this season. UCLA has a bye this weekend. First game for Skipper as head coach is September 27th at Northwestern. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, y'all, come on. Pick up the drum.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah, gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey.
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it. Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power.
So many things, big and little, make you uniquely you. Your hobbies, dreams, career, family, and more. Addiction to drugs, including opioids and stimulants, can strip these away from you. Recover your life. Choose treatment for drug addiction and get back to what matters most. Find a provider and proven treatment option that's right for you at choosechangeca.org. Recover you.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on autopsy, then click on request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to building a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and really delighted to be in conversation with another author. We love authors here on A More Perfect Union. It's no more important time for us to be reminded of our history, to reminded of what we've been through, so that we can have the courage to face what we are going through. This is the story of us across the diaspora, and I'm so glad that Monique Kleska has offered her work as a contribution to the canon. Her book is called Silence and Resistance, Memoir of a Girlhood in Haiti. Monique, before the break, I was asking you about how you process the trauma of an absence of both your parents, particularly your mom, whose unexplained absence and emotional distance clearly affected you.
I think probably everyone processes trauma in a different manner. It took me years to process the trauma. And sometimes you think, I've gone through it and it's over. And then you realize, no, it's not over because something actually triggers it. So it took quite a long time, if not to say a lifetime, to actually process that. At first, it was very difficult, a lot of tears. I was a little girl, so, why is she leaving? And because it was linked with not only the trauma of her not being there, but it was also the silence around that. Today, children are talked to. People explain things, family explains things. Mommy is going away, Papa is going away. But then it was not done. It was just, well, I'm gone. And in one of the times my mother left, it was the night before that she actually said that she was leaving. So you don't know why. And a lot of it has to do with, am I worthy of the love? Am I loved? Is she coming back? So there are all these questions. So it was the trauma of the absence, of the loss, and it was also the trauma of not knowing anything about it. So which doubled the dose of it. So you process it through time, you process it through asking questions, and eventually you process it with the help of psychologists, with people around you, with community, with asking questions. And in my case, I will not give a spoiler. However, but in my case, I was over 50 years old when I finally sat down, and it's a chapter called The Reckoning in the book, when I actually sat down and asked my mother, why? Why did you do this? Why didn't you say this? Why was I not? And she had good reasons. But she had to deal with her burdens that we did not know. So I don't know that I can tell anyone how to deal with their trauma, how to deal with it. All I can say is it does get better, one. And I can also say is never stop asking why. And the third thing I can say is most of the time, it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the other person. So that's why the why is important. That's why not questioning yourself is also important. And give it time, and eventually it comes around. Look at me. It took me years and years to actually get to the truth. And unearthing family secrets is a huge backdrop of the book. And it is a huge backdrop, I'm finding out, of a lot of families. People keep secrets. They don't tell you things. And the things that they don't tell you are things that you need to know to move forward. So just keep on asking. That is, if there is any advice I can give, and I say it with a lot of humility, is really just seek your truth. Ask questions. Ask people, why did you do this? And speak your truth in saying, I'm sorry, but this really hurt me. And I think it's important to get that out. And it can take years. It took me years and years and years. I was a grown woman having lived with my own children when I found out things, when I could actually process it. So I don't know that there is a recipe for processing it, but I know that one must seek one's truth, and it is important to do it. And once you find some amount of light, some amount of responses to what you're seeking, then you can move forward with grace. And a lot of my book has to do with healing, because once you go through all of that, you must heal, and you must find a way to heal, and you must seek. And in seeking your truth, that is, to me, that was my pathway to healing. And I'm hoping that others, through reading the book, can also heal. And it's a reckoning that they have to go through, and each person has to go through it in their own manner. And I'm too humble to give advice. All I can say is just continue seeking your truth and you will find it.
Yeah. In about a minute, Monique, I want to ask you if you could appeal to, some of the ICE agents out there that are facilitating sort of the disappearing of parents, of members of folks' families, perhaps not understanding sort of the far-reaching consequences of their actions. If you could appeal to their heart, what would you say?
Haitians have a saying that says that tout moun c'est moun, meaning each person is a human being. And that is what helped us through the revolution. And that started the whole human rights movement. And this is the only thing that can be said. Each person is a human being that deserves respect.
That's right. I hope folks are listening with an open heart, because there are a lot of human beings out there today, here at home in the United States and across the world, that are feeling everything but human.
But we are, each of us is deserving of humanity, of respect, and of dignity.
That's right. We'll have to leave it there. My thanks to author Monique Kleska. Be sure to go out and pick up her soul-stirring book, Silence and Resistance, Memoir of a Girlhood in Haiti. Our thanks to you, Monique, and God bless.
Thank you, Dr. Quartey. Thank you.
You've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We got a special announcement about some work that's afoot here at KBLA Talk 1580. Spoiler alert, it has something to do with your health and wellness. You'll hear from our very own Gary Bembridge when we come forward. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm LA City Councilmember Curran Price, inviting you to the 30th anniversary of the Central Avenue Jazz Festival, Saturday, September the 20th, from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. We've got 4 pavilions, 3 stages of live music, plus food, fun, and a marketplace all along historic Central Avenue between MLK Boulevard and Vernon Ave. Our featured acts this year are Gregory Porter, Pancho Sanchez, and Jasmine Horn at the 30th anniversary of the Central Avenue Jazz Festival, Saturday, September 20th, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. along Central Avenue between MLK Boulevard and Vernon Avenue. Come out and bring the whole family because this legendary celebration is free. For more information, go to centralavjazzfest.com. I'm LA Councilmember Curran Price, and I absolutely approve this message.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you ready to be a part of the conversation that will help shape our nation's future? Get ready to join us for the Left Coast Forum, Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech, where progressive voices will come together to tackle the issues that matter most to working families across Los Angeles and beyond. From economic justice to climate action, from healthcare to housing, we're bringing together the brightest minds and most passionate advocates for real solutions and real change. With workshops, 2 major keynote addresses, and a closing reception with great music and good food. It's the Left Coast Forum, where your voice matters and your ideas take action. Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the LA Progressive. The future won't wait, and neither should you. Mark your calendar now to be there and be heard. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details.
We face tragedy, but we don't fall into despair. We continue our work to build a more perfect union.
You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and that gentleman right there on your screen that's streaming live everywhere, that's Gary Bainbridge. He is COO of KBLA Talk 1580 and Smiley Audio Radio. And look, you know, I oftentimes like to talk about our health and wellness from the neck up and neck down. And it's one thing to talk about it, but as you know, here at KBLA Talk 1580, we're about more than just talk. Get it? We're a talk radio network, but we're about more than just talk. I'm so excited about the work that is afoot at KBLA to provide folks with the tips and tools and resources to step up your health game, because we know that health is wealth. And so, Gary, tell the people, what have we been cooking up at KBLA?
Well, first of all, Dr. Nee, thanks for having me on. I know you're busy on Air Force 2 and all of those endeavors, so taking a moment out of your time.
Not this Air Force 2, Gary.
Not this one, right? Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Of course. And so talk to us about this health and wellness initiative at KBLA. I'm certainly excited about it. And even as we're talking about it, I want to encourage people to go to KBLA1580.com to just sort of, you know, take a look around at what we have put together for you.
So, Dr. Nee, the work began with the historic $2 million climate justice campaign that Tavis Smiley convened in 2024. You may recall that. Caring about the climate, caring about the community. That generated over 500 million impressions. And we saw how much the community embraced information about health and wellness. What we did learn from climate justice, though, was the link to health disparities and the over-indexing in almost every health condition. Almost all of them we looked at, way over-indexed than the norm. And as a community, we're losing 7 years of life expectancy compared to others. And why is this? The more we researched, it came down to awareness, early intervention, health equity, and treatment, and access to groundbreaking therapies, such as clinical trials. Now, Dr. Nee, we all know a family member or a loved one who succumbed to one of these illnesses that we would love to have those extra 7 years with, don't we?
Absolutely. Man, I talk about my brother, I talk about my father. You know, I mean, cardiovascular related issues, that's not just part of my family history. It's a part of the family history, health history of so many of us. And, you know, what I love so much about this KBLA Health and Wellness Hub that we have assembled is it provides folks with actionable insights, all sorts of things you can do short of, you know, hiring a personal trainer or doing something that's going to cost you a whole bunch of money, but it's very practical tips that we can all lean into to lead healthier lives. And to your point, who doesn't want as many birthdays as they can possibly have, as many holidays as we can possibly spend with our loved ones, as many vacations as we may be able to have? And so that's a large part of what is driving the development of this Health and Wellness Hub.
It is, and as a part of our user experience and digital transformation strategy, Doctor, our goal is to build a digital portal for health-related discussions and connections that will continue to grow. and grow exponentially. And this means information is going to be accessible on any time, any place, on any device. And we're already seeing engagement across all the multi-platform channels that we have, which is talking to you right now on the radio, terrestrial, but we're also engaging with the user, as you mentioned earlier, on KBLA1580.com, where you can find the hub. And if you go to our social medias, you'll find a connection there as well. We'll be sending out emails. These are some of the fastest growing areas of our business, and it's where folks consume media and get their information, not just by listening to the radio. So it's part of our omni-channel digital transformation strategy to get the information out to as many persons as possible where they consume the information. And so we have been really careful to provide curated content from trusted partners, and that we're doing the best to provide these resources to the community. What you will see right now is we have a few categories live. So if you go to KBLA1580.com, we've started version 1 with, I think it's 8 categories we have up there. And already we're hearing from the community, what about this? But well, it's in the pipeline, and we're happy to say we're rolling out version 2 shortly, and it'll include all the conditions from asthma, arthritis, Alzheimer's, cancer, diabetes, hypertension, mental health, maternal and paternal and mental health, obesity, heart disease, sickle cell, menopause, and nutrition and fitness. And unfortunately, all of these areas over-index, the condition does, in the Black community. And that's why we feel this is really such an important endeavor to get the information out there, to raise awareness and provide access for early intervention, and also access to clinical trials that are diverse. So maybe if it's far along and you know someone that's far along, there is an alternative, there's an option to extend lives and get those 7 years back.
Yeah, I mean, and I just want to double click on that, because I know sometimes when we talk about clinical trials, there are a lot of folks that feel very uncomfortable with those conversations. And part of it is the history that we're still grappling with, the history of how Black folks have been treated when it comes to clinical trials. But the reality is that there's not nearly enough of us in these clinical trials. And so when they're developing the therapies, when they're developing the interventions, potentially life-saving, if we're not in it on the front end, then sometimes they miss the mark on the potency of it on us on the back end. And so, if anyone, is, diagnosed with cancer, Alzheimer's, or diabetes, that, doctors may say, hey, we don't, have a particular therapy for this or that, but there is a clinical trial. Do you want to be a part of it? And so, you can sign up to learn more, This is about empowering our leaders, learners, and listeners with the information that they need to make the best decision for you, the best decision for your family. And I don't need to tell folks that, remember back during COVID, when, we were looking for sources that we could trust with information and insights to help us navigate, that moment. Well, we don't have to wait for another COVID pandemic in order to do the thing that made a difference and saved a lot of lives. And so that's part of the reason why I'm excited about this health and wellness hub. But on a personal note, Gary, why are you excited about this? I mean, when you reflect on your own family health history, what about it has particularly piqued your interest related to this hub?
Good question. Thank you. And there are two areas, right? First of all, we've had family members. My grandmother suffered from Alzheimer's, but we simply thought it was forgetfulness, right? Back in the day. And she kept calling me the wrong name. Got annoyed when I corrected her. Maintained a jolly countenance, but we didn't know better then. We met some patients who have had treatment. And while the Alzheimer's hasn't really ebbed at all, it hasn't grown. So they're able to continue a relatively stable quality of life. I'm excited because some of the folks we talk to around clinical trials diversity are persons of color. There's so many of them that surprise me within these companies who are very passionate about getting diversity in clinical trials recruitment. So as you mentioned, those medicines can actually work. And then the other part of it was I really admire and feel buoyed by the fact that the community here that we have, when we rolled out climate justice, opted in for information. They wanted more information. They wanted to hear it. They wanted to learn. And I was really surprised by that healthy, hearty response.
Well, I mean, I think that's all the more reason for us to lean in. It's just another data point. It's another opportunity for folks to understand that this KBLA Health and Wellness Hub, this isn't just something we're doing just for busy work. This is personal. And I don't think there's a person at KBLA, I don't think there's anybody in the KBLA family and the Smiley Audio Media family that has not been touched by severe health events that have affected our family, in some cases have transformed our families. And so, we don't want to wait till something goes wrong. We want to help folks have the information and insights to do everything they possibly can that's right to live long and prosper. And so, again, folks can go to the KBLA website at KBLA1580.com and check out our KBLA Health and Wellness Hub. You can also sign up to be a part of our newsletter so you never miss any information there. But hat tip to you and our leadership team, especially our fearless leader, Tavis Smiley, for holding the vision and implementing the vision.
Yes, and if we have a second, Doctor, I'd like to announce that we're hosting a community health and wellness fair, to your point about not going away, but doubling down, on November 8th. This will be hosted by KBLA Talk 1580 at the Audubon Middle School. This information will be on our website shortly from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on November 8th. And what folks can expect after the free entry, of course, are health screenings, family-friendly activities, mental health resources, free flu shots, and of course, some music and healthy snacks along with giveaways. And if you want more information, you can go to info@smileyaudiomedia.com, and it'll be up on our website shortly to be able to sign up. And we're also putting in a plug for sponsors. It takes work to curate this content and resources. So if a brand out there needs to or wants to be associated with Black health and wellness, this is the place to come. You can reach out and contact us. While we have many partners in the pipeline, we could always use more. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your work, Gary. And we'll mark our calendars for November 8th Health and Wellness Fair in Los Angeles. When we come forward in our next hour, we're going to talk to the son of a legend, a baseball Hall of Fame legend. We're going to be talking to Roberto Clemente Jr. about the new documentary that is out about his legendary father. You do not want to miss that. I have watched the documentary. I have so many questions, and we will get to that in short order. Plus, a little bit later, we'll be talking to Jamar Reed. He's a seasoned data scientist and analyst, and there's a lot afoot related to artificial intelligence and the future of Black business. We're going to talk opportunities, risks, and how to stay ahead. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson signed an executive order directing police to protect immigration rights protesters if federal agents intervene.
In the event the federal government, the Constitution, our police department has a responsibility to make sure that we're protecting our democracy.
He says the move follows last week's federal response to demonstrators outside an ICE facility in Broadview. Black Mississippi Congressman Benny Thompson is calling for a federal investigation into the hanging death of 21-year-old Lamar Travion Reed, a Black student at Delta State University. Though the coroner found no foul play, Thompson calls it suspicious. And authorities have identified remains found in a car registered to rising singer David, but are still working to locate the victim's family. The cause of death has not been determined. David, who has paused his world tour, is cooperating with investigators. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.